Summer 1940. Britain is alone. Bombers over London, fighter squadrons burning through machines faster than factories can replace them. Across the Atlantic, one country still stands outside the war, the United States, but its aircraft industry hums with possibility. Desperate for new fighters, the British Purchasing Commission crosses the ocean with a shopping list and a deadline. They aren't looking for innovation, just something they can build fast. What they get instead is a miracle. An airplane designed in 102 days, drawn by American engineers, powered by a British heart. The P-51 Mustang, the American plane Britain never meant to design, but somehow did. In 1940, the Royal Air Force is running on fumes. The Battle of Britain has exposed a harsh truth. Spitfires and Hurricanes win fights, but Britain's factories can't build enough of them. So the government turns to America, sending the British Purchasing Commission to buy anything that can fly and fight. Curtiss has the P-40 Warhawk, a tough but aging design. The plan is simple: pay an American company to build more of those under license. But Britain wants more than numbers. They need speed, range, and altitude, qualities the P-40 can't deliver. When the Commission visits North American aviation in California, company president James Dutch Kindleberger listens carefully. Then he says something that changes aviation history. If we're going to build a fighter, why build an old one? Let us design you a new one, better, and we'll have it flying before you'd finish the paperwork for the P-40. The British delegation hesitates. New aircraft normally take years. Kindleberger promises a prototype in 4 months. The gamble is irresistible. Britain signs. Back in Inglewood, the race begins. Chief designer Edgar Schmuid, a meticulous German-born engineer, sketches a fighter around the newest aerodynamic data from the U.S. National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, laminar flow wings that slice drag almost in half. He pairs it with a long, sleek fuselage and a radiator scoop placed under the belly, shaped to use the Meredith effect, hot exhaust air producing a small jet of thrust instead of drag. It's an elegant piece of math in aluminum. To save time, North American starts cutting metal before the final drawings are finished. Workers weld frames while engineers still calculate loads. The design office runs day and night. Astonishingly, after just 102 days, the prototype NA-73X rolls out onto the sun-baked tarmac at Mines Field, now Los Angeles International Airport. The British observers nickname it immediately Mustang. They had asked for a stopgap. What they got was the beginning of a legend. North American's factory in Inglewood turns into an industrial marathon. Designers sleep under drafting tables. Engineers finish one blueprint while mechanics start cutting metal for the next. Edgar Schmuid oversees every curve of the new fighter. He's obsessed with streamlining. Even the wing rivets are flush fit to keep airflow smooth. The wings use an experimental laminar flow profile, a design so new that only a handful of test models exist on paper. Fuel tanks are tucked deep in the fuselage, landing gear made wide and sturdy to handle rough British airfields, and the cockpit sits high for visibility. Underneath, Schmuid places a scoop-shaped radiator that turns drag into thrust. When one engineer worries about the tight schedule, Kindleberger just says, "If we stop to worry, we'll be late." 102 days later, a polished silver prototype, the NA-73X, rolls out into the California sun. From drawing board to runway in barely 3 months. Even by wartime standards, it's unheard of. October 26, 1940. Test pilot Vance Breezy climbs into the NA-73X at Mines Field. Reporters aren't invited. The commission only wants proof that the thing flies. Breezy opens the throttle. The Allison engine roars, the nose lifts, and the Mustang leaps off the runway, smooth and steady. Within minutes, he's looping, banking, rolling. She flies like she was born to. After landing, Breezy just grins. She's got no bad habits. By spring 1941, Britain orders 320 aircraft, officially naming them Mustang Mark I. They'll carry 4 50 caliber guns and 4 30s, plus cameras for reconnaissance. To the engineers in Inglewood, it's proof that the gamble worked. To the Royal Air Force, it's another tool for survival. No one yet knows that this side project will rewrite air combat. The first Mustangs reach Britain in early 1942, painted in Royal Air Force green and ready for war. At low altitude, they're lightning fast, perfect for photo runs, train busting, and low-level strikes. But once they climb above 15,000 feet, the Allison V 1710 engine gasps for air. The aircraft built to be a world beater becomes a specialist, superb down low, sluggish up high. The Spitfires still own the stratosphere. Pilots love its range and handling, but frustration grows. The Mustang should be great. It just needs lungs strong enough for altitude. At Rolls-Royce's test field in Britain, an engineer named Ronald Harker watches a Mustang streak by and mutters an idea that will change everything. Put a Merlin in that airframe. The suggestion sounds simple. The effect will be revolutionary. The Merlin wasn't some magic button. It was an engine. Specifically, the Rolls-Royce Merlin, a 12-cylinder piston engine built in Britain. It powered several of the most famous World War II aircraft, the Spitfire, the Hurricane, and later the Lancaster bomber. It was small for its power, reliable at high altitude, and used a supercharger, a kind of air pump that keeps the engine breathing in thin air. That supercharger is why it could outperform the American Allison engine above 15,000 feet. So when engineers put a Merlin into the American-built Mustang, the change wasn't cosmetic. It was like swapping a truck motor for a race car engine that could breathe on mountain peaks. When test pilot Ronald Harker lifts off, the results are immediate. More than 440 miles an hour, a climb rate that doubles, and smooth power all the way to 30,000 feet. It's a different aircraft. The British call the hybrid the Mustang X. Word of the test spreads fast. In Washington, a U.S. Army liaison named Tommy Hitchcock, a former polo champion turned air attaché, pushes the idea with relentless energy. Within months, Packard in Detroit is building the Merlin under license for American production. The new fighter gets a new designation, P-51B. Same airframe, same wing, but now it can escort bombers to Berlin and back. The transformation is complete. The Mustang finally grows its wings. Winter 1943. Europe is burning. American B-17 and B-24s pound German industry by day, but their escorts can't stay the distance. When the fighters turn for home over Belgium, the bombers die alone. Then the Merlin Mustangs arrive. Their range, more than 1,600 miles with drop tanks, lets them stay with the bombers all the way to the target and back again. They climb high, dive hard, and fight deep inside German territory. Luftwaffe pilots call them the long-nosed Spitfire that never runs out of fuel. Over Berlin, one bomber crew paints a slogan on its fuselage: "The Yanks finally brought angels." By mid-1944, the sky belongs to the Mustang. It isn't just escorting bombers anymore, it's hunting the hunters. The Luftwaffe, once feared and untouchable, begins to die in its own airspace. The Mustang story isn't only about performance, it's about partnership. Britain brought the need and the engine. America brought the speed, the production, and the audacity to start from zero. Together, they built the first fighter that could cross a continent, fight, and come home on the same tank of gas. That changed everything. For the first time, daylight bombing became survivable. Factories in Germany burned, the Luftwaffe collapsed, and Allied air power paved the way for D-Day. Historian Ian Toll once wrote that the P-51 was the perfect symbol of the alliance itself: British brains, American brawn. It was born of crisis, built in a hurry, and perfected by cooperation. When World War II ended, the Mustang stayed in the sky. The jet age was coming fast, but early jets were short-ranged and fragile, so the P-51 kept flying frontline patrols through the late 1940s. When the Korean War broke out in 1950, they went back into combat as F-51Ds, strafing supply lines and rail yards while early jets struggled with short range. Pilots said the Mustang handled like it always had, steady, tough, and deadly if you respected it. Dozens of U.S. allies bought their own fleets. Australia, Canada, South Africa, and Sweden flew them for years. Some countries, like Indonesia and the Dominican Republic, kept them in service well into the 1960s. By the time the last ones retired, the Mustang had fought under more flags than any other World War II fighter. Born from a British request, built in America, and flown everywhere in between, it refused to die just because the war did.